There is a quiet whisper inside you that has always known the truth, not the truth you were taught, not the truth handed down through fear or form, but the truth that lives beneath all striving, all seeking, all becoming. It is the silent knowing that nothing needs to be added to who you are, for nothing has ever been missing. You are not on a path to become more. You are only on a path to remember. The world, with all its noise and glitter and measurement, has taught you to look outward, to chase, to compare, to climb mountains made of illusions and promises. It has handed you maps to destinations that do not exist. It has placed worth at the top of ladders built by the ego and whispered, only when you reach this place will you be enough. And so you began running toward titles, running toward approval, running toward perfection, running in shoes made by others, carrying burdens that were never yours. But let me tell you something sacred. The moment you begin to look within, to truly pause and sit with the stillness of your own presence, you will discover that everything you have been searching for in the world has been waiting quietly inside your being all along. You do not need to become anything. You only need to awaken to what you already are. You are already what you seek. You seek love, but you are love. Not the conditional kind that is offered and withdrawn, but the eternal kind that simply is radiant, unconditional, unshakable. You are not a being searching for love. You are love searching for yourself. You seek peace, but peace is your native state. Before the world painted you with urgency and filled your mind with restless noise, there was peace, and it is still there, underneath the chatter, underneath the striving. Peace is not a place you arrive at. It is the atmosphere of your soul. You seek meaning, but meaning is not found in doing more or proving more. Meaning is found in being and breathing consciously, in walking with presence, in seeing through eyes that know everything is already divine. You are not here to earn your place. You are here to remember that you already belong. You seek healing, but healing is not something granted by time or effort. Healing is the soft unraveling of what never truly belonged to you, the false stories, the inherited wounds, the borrowed beliefs. Healing is the gentle return to the self that was never broken. You are already what you seek. You are not an empty vessel waiting to be filled. You are the ocean itself, temporarily believing you are a drop. You are not a spark hoping for fire. You are the flame. You are not a stranger trying to find God. You are the breath of God, trying to remember itself. The ego will not want to hear this. It feeds on the narrative of not enoughness. It thrives when you feel separate, small, unworthy, incomplete. It will convince you that joy must be earned and that peace is a prize to be achieved. It will seduce you into believing that your value is measured by how many steps you've climbed, how much praise you receive, or how flawlessly you perform the role you've been assigned. But the soul knows. The soul does not compete. The soul does not compare. The soul does not rush. It simply shines. Your task is not to fix yourself. You are not broken. Your task is not to chase purpose. Your existence is already purposeful. Your task is not to seek something outside of you. Your task is to become still enough to hear the quiet music that has always been playing within your being. You are already what you seek. You have mistaken becoming for awakening. You have confused transformation with accumulation. True transformation is not about stacking more layers on top of your identity. It is the sacred act of shedding what never belonged to you in the first place. The butterfly does not add wings to the caterpillar. It dissolves. It surrenders. It allows what is false to fall away so that what is real can emerge. You are not becoming a soul. You are remembering that you have always been one. The journey you are on is not one of self-improvement, but of self-revelation. The more you seek outside of yourself, the farther you drift from the center. But the moment you turn inward, truly inward, you will find a stillness so profound, a truth so silent yet deafening that it will shatter every illusion of lack. The light you chase in others is the light you've been dimming in yourself. You are already what you seek. You are the abundance you crave. You are the worth you try to prove. You are the peace you postpone. You are the joy you think must be earned. You are the love you keep looking for in every face, in every gesture, in every echo of approval. You are the home you've always longed to return to. So stop running. Stop trying. Stop bargaining with the divine by performing for a world that cannot validate your soul. You are not here to meet expectations. You are here to embody your essence. You are the mirror, not the reflection. You are the sky, not the passing weather. You are the awareness, not the thought. You are the vast, boundless field in which all experience arises untouched, eternal, sacred. Nothing needs to be added to you. Nothing. Not a title, not an accomplishment, not a partner, not a validation, not a future version of yourself. You are already whole, already complete, already enough. The only thing left to do is to remember. And remembering is not a doing, it is an undoing. It is a melting away. It is a sacred dissolving. It is the quiet choice to no longer chase what you already are, to no longer believe in the lie of lack, to no longer treat your divinity as a distant destination. You are already what you seek. And the world, this beautiful, chaotic, ever-changing world, is not your source. It is your mirror. It reflects what you believe about yourself. It bends to your inner frequency. It echoes the thoughts you trust most deeply. When you live from lack, the world echoes scarcity. When you live from wholeness, the world responds with peace. When you live from love, the world reflects miracles. The world is not happening to you, it is responding to you. And what it responds to most clearly is your inner knowing, that quiet, unwavering knowing that says, I am enough. I have always been enough. I will always be enough. This is not arrogance, this is spiritual humility. Arrogance believes it must become more. True humility bows before what already is. It does not strive to become divine, it recognizes the divine that already breathes through every cell of its being. You are already what you seek. Let that truth land in the softest part of your heart. Let it wash over every part of you that has been tired from searching. Let it reach the part of you that feels unseen, unheard, unloved, and remind it that nothing has ever been missing. There is no destination, only awakening. There is no other life waiting for you to arrive. This is it, and it is already sacred. There is no higher version of you that you must strive toward. The highest version of you is the one who surrenders, the one who remembers, the one who stops searching and starts being. You are already what you seek. And now, in the stillness of this moment, let the seeking fall away. Let the striving dissolve. Let the performance cease. And return to the truth that has always waited patiently beneath every thought, beneath every wound, beneath every desire. You are not becoming, you are revealing. You are not lacking, you are overflowing. You are not separate from the divine. You are the divine remembering itself. You are already what you seek. You have spent a lifetime trying to arrive at peace, at purpose, at fulfillment, as if life were a destination rather than a presence. But you were never meant to arrive, you were meant to awaken. And awakening is not a journey measured in miles or milestones. It is the sacred art of seeing clearly right where you are. The idea that you must reach some future state in order to be whole is the grand illusion. It is the veil that keeps the eyes of your spirit closed to the brilliance of the now. And in this very moment, beneath every thought that says, not yet, there is a timeless voice whispering, already, already alive, already worthy, already whole. to awaken is to hear that voice again. It is to notice the sacred hidden in the ordinary, the stillness between words, the warmth in a stranger's smile, the aliveness in your own heartbeat. It is to let go of waiting and allow this moment to be enough, because it is and always has been. The soul does not live in the future. It does not dwell in yesterday's shadows. It resides only in the eternal now, the quiet center where all seeking dissolves, where you stop running in circles and begin standing in truth. There's no grand awakening coming from the outside. The sky will not open with thunder to declare your divinity. Instead, it comes like a gentle return, the slow lifting of fog from a mountain valley. One moment you can't see the truth. The next, it's all around you, unchanged, eternal. And you realize you didn't find it. You remembered it. That is the essence of spiritual maturity. The moment you stop looking for something to change you and begin uncovering the changeless one within you. You do not need to transform yourself like some sculptor chiseling at marble. You only need to remove what no longer belongs. Not by force, not by struggle, but by the grace of awareness, by allowing what is false to fall away so that what is true can be revealed. You are not here to become extraordinary. You are here to remember that nothing has ever been more extraordinary than your own being. Even your suffering has not diminished you. Even your pain, misunderstood, resisted, hidden, has not changed the eternal truth of what you are. If anything, it is the very friction that has worn away the masks. It is the very breaking that has opened the window to the soul. What if all the things you thought were setbacks were sacred doorways? What if the heartbreak was a teacher, not a punishment? What if every closed door was grace in disguise? What if all of it, the confusion, the waiting, the ache of being human, was designed not to test you, but to bring you back to yourself? And what if, just for a moment, you stopped asking life to give you more and began asking life to help you see what you already have? That shift, that sacred pivot, is the moment of return. Not return to some former version of yourself, but a return to the essence that has been quietly waiting behind the noise, the divine frequency that never left, never faltered, never broke. The world may have tried to define you by your role, by your results, by your reputation, but the soul defies labels. It cannot be summed up in titles or bound by identity. It is the formless living through the form, the timeless wrapped in skin, the eternal breathing as you. You are not here to fix your humanity. You are here to awaken your divinity within your humanity, to let the infinite live through the temporary, to let the light shine through the cracks, not after they're sealed, but because they exist. This is the paradox of awakening, that your liberation does not come after your healing, it comes through it. Not once everything is perfect, but when you no longer need it to be. Not when all your wounds are gone, but when you stop identifying with them. Not when the noise is silenced, but when you recognize you are not the noise. You are the space in which the noise arises. You are the awareness that watches it all without judgment. You are the timeless field behind every story, every reaction, every identity, and in that recognition, there is power. Not the power that the world chases, the kind that dominates, collects, wins, but the power that liberates, the kind that needs nothing and gives everything. The kind that walks into the world with empty hands and an open heart, knowing it lacks nothing and therefore fears nothing. The person who knows they are already enough no longer competes. They no longer seek to impress or persuade or prove. They no longer barter their authenticity for approval. They simply live freely, fully, and in harmony with the pulse of the universe. Because they know the truth. They are already what they once believed they had to earn. And when you realize this, truly feel it in your being, not just as a thought, but as a resonance. You stop striving and begin aligning. You stop resisting and start receiving. You stop waiting and start living. The seeker dissolves. The striving fades. the shame evaporates, and in its place arises something so profoundly quiet that it changes everything. Presence, pure, grounded, radiant presence. This is not about becoming something new. This is about embodying what's always been true. You don't need another strategy. You don't need more affirmation. You need only the courage to sit in the stillness of your own soul and listen. Listen not with the ears, but with the spirit. Listen not for answers, but for alignment. And in that listening, you will hear the voice of truth. Not shouting, not persuading, but gently reminding you, I have never left you. I have always been here. You are already what you seek. And from that sacred place, you will begin to live differently, not because you are trying to live differently, but because you are no longer carrying the weight of being someone else. You no longer need to wear the mask. You no longer need to chase your reflection in other people's eyes. You no longer need to become someone. You simply need to be fully, freely, truthfully, and that is where the miracle begins. Not in changing the world, but in changing how you see it. Not in altering the self, but in discovering the one who never needed altering. Not in running toward the horizon, but in realizing that what you've been running toward has been inside you all along. The horizon is you. The miracle is you. The sacred is you. You are already what you seek. There is a grace in slowing down, a quiet revolution in choosing to stop rushing toward yourself and instead simply rest as yourself. Most people fear stillness because they fear what they might find in the silence. But the silence is not empty. The silence is where God speaks without words. When you stop filling every gap with noise, you begin to hear what has always been waiting underneath. The sacred doesn't scream for your attention. It whispers. It breathes through the spaces you've been avoiding. It lives in the moments you overlook. And in those spaces, there is a recognition, not a conclusion reached by logic, but a remembrance felt by the soul. You remember that your worth does not depend on productivity, that your being does not need to be justified by doing, that the essence of life is not found in the acceleration, but in the alignment. What if you are not meant to become faster, but deeper? What if the invitation of this life is not to add more, but to live more consciously with less? What if your transformation isn't ahead of you, but beneath you, beneath the stories, the identities, the mental scaffolding you've used to hold up the illusion of lack? Let them fall. Let it all fall. The ideas, the expectations, the image you think you must protect, let them collapse into the truth. There is no danger in letting go of what was never you to begin with. The ego may panic in that shedding, but the soul celebrates. For every layer that drops is another breath of freedom. And freedom is not loud. It is not flashy. It is not something you post about or perform. It is subtle. It is sacred. It is the kind of freedom that comes from no longer needing to pretend. The moment you realize you are enough, without adornment, without performance, without disguise, that is the moment you return home to yourself. And in that homecoming, there is no applause. There is only peace. Not the peace that comes from controlling circumstances, not the peace that depends on other people's behavior, but the deep, soul-rooted peace that cannot be taken because it was never given by the world in the first place. It has always belonged to you. Peace is your birthright. Joy is your essence. Love is your origin. And truth is your nature. You have never been separate from these things. You have only believed the mind's interpretation more than the soul's knowing. But the soul is patient. The soul waits. It doesn't argue or impose. It simply continues to radiate like the sun behind the clouds, knowing the moment you stop resisting, you'll feel its warmth again. And when you do, when you stop clutching your false identities and open yourself to the presence within, you'll realize that what you've been seeking has always been you, seeing through you, loving through you, living as you. You are not a character in this story. You are the awareness that sees the story. You are not defined by your past, your pain, your projections. You are defined by nothing, and that is your liberation. When you realize that nothing defines you, everything becomes possible. You are no longer bound by how others see you. You are no longer limited by how you used to see yourself. You are no longer a reflection of your wounds. You are a revelation of the divine. And in that revelation, you do not need to rise above the world. You are invited to walk fully in it with clarity, with compassion, with presence. This is not about escaping reality. This is about returning to the truest version of it. The world will still try to sell you stories. It will still try to measure your value by standards that were never created for the soul. But you, now anchored in knowing, no longer need to buy in. You don't have to harden yourself to survive in a hardened world. You don't have to dim your light to fit in with those who have forgotten their own. You don't have to explain your peace to those addicted to struggle. Just be. Your presence is your message. Your stillness is your power. Your authenticity is your revolution. Because the most radiant soul is not the one who shines the loudest. It is the one who remembers it was never in the dark. You were never in the dark. You only closed your eyes for a while. You forgot, like all of us do, what you came here to remember. But the forgetting was part of the path. The seeking was part of the sacred spiral. The wandering was the way home. And now you are arriving, not at something new, but at the truth that has always been within you. The truth that asks for no effort, no proof, no justification. The truth that simply says, you are. You are love without condition. You are light without doubt. You are truth without question. And you are already what you seek. So breathe deeply. Let this knowing sink into your bones, not as an idea to grasp, but as a frequency to live by. Let it shape how you speak, how you listen, how you walk into a room, how you sit with yourself when no one is watching. Let it redefine success, not as something to win, but as something to remember the success of living as your truest self, unburdened by shame, untouched by fear, unshaken by comparison. Let it show you that you are not here to prove anything. You are here to embody everything you already are. And in doing so, you become the living proof, not of how much you can achieve, but of how deeply you can remember. You are already what you seek. You always have been. You always will be. There is a moment in every soul's journey when the search softens, when the desperate reaching, the endless questioning, the exhausting pursuit of wholeness simply lets go. Not out of resignation, but out of revelation. The revelation that there is nothing left to chase, nothing left to fix, nothing left to attain. Because the truth, so quietly patient all along, has been whispering from within you, waiting for the stillness deep enough to be heard. And now you have heard it. Not as an idea, not as a philosophy, but as a knowing. You are already what you seek. This is not a metaphor. This is not poetic comfort. This is the purest spiritual reality, the kind of truth that doesn't shout, but resonates. The kind that does not try to convince the mind, but dissolves it. The kind that doesn't give you something to hold it, invites you to release everything you never needed. And in this sacred space of remembering, you realize something even more profound. You were never lost. You were only dreaming. Dreaming of a self that was separate. Dreaming of a God outside of you. Dreaming of a future where you might finally become worthy of what you already are. The awakening was never about becoming more. It was about waking up from the dream of not enough. It was about opening your eyes in the dark and realizing the light was never gone. You had only been looking away. And now, as your soul breathes deeper than it ever has before, you begin to feel what can never be taught, the felt truth of presence. Not as a concept, but as the substance of your being. You are not just connected to God. You are the expression of God in motion. You are not beneath the divine. You are the divine remembering itself. No longer does your heart need to beg for peace. It is peace. No longer must your voice cry out for love, it is love. No longer do you wait for a miracle. You are the miracle. You are the evidence of what is holy, not someday, not when you've earned it, not after you've healed everything. Now, in this moment, exactly as you are, you begin to see yourself now with new eyes, not through the filter of judgment, but through the lens of soul. You begin to hold your past not as a burden, but as a sacred map that brought you home. You begin to honor your wounds, not because you are defined by them, but because they revealed your resilience, your softness, your unbreakable truth. And from this place, you stop rushing, you stop clinging, you stop bargaining with life. You start allowing, you start trusting, you start embodying. There is nothing more spiritual than presence. And presence is not something you practice. It is what remains when you stop running. It is the native language of the soul. And now you speak it. You speak it through your stillness. You speak it through your kindness. You speak it through the gentle courage to be exactly as you are, with nothing left to prove. You no longer need applause. You no longer seek validation. You no longer chase enlightenment like it's somewhere far from your fingertips. Because now, you see, enlightenment is not an achievement. It's a remembering of your natural state. It is what rises when all else falls away. And now that everything false has begun to crumble, you stand not in emptiness, but in the fullness of truth. You are not becoming, you are being, you are not searching, you are revealing, you are not reaching for God. You are awakening to the God within you, and in this awakening, life becomes simpler, more beautiful. Not because the circumstances are different, but because your eyes are. You see the divine not just in mountaintops and scripture, but in dishwater, in a child's laughter, in silence, in breath, in the face you see in the mirror each morning. You no longer wait for a better moment. You no longer postpone your joy. You no longer delay your peace. You live now, you give now. You love now, not because everything is perfect, but because you no longer require perfection to be at peace. And the beauty is, when you live from this knowing, you become a quiet light in the world. You don't need to convince others. You don't need to shout. Your very being becomes an invitation, an open doorway into remembrance. Others feel it. They may not understand it with the mind, but their hearts recognize it, because the soul always remembers the soul. This is the great liberation. That nothing needs to be added to you. That your only task now is to be what you already are, freely, unapologetically, with reverence and joy. Let others chase. Let others prove. Let others build ladders to the sky. You are becoming the sky. You are no longer climbing. You are expanding. You are no longer editing your essence. You are expressing it. You are no longer seeking the divine. You are surrendering to the truth that the divine is seeking to live through you. And as this settles into the very marrow of your being, you begin to smile in that deep, ancient way, not because everything makes sense, but because everything belongs. Even the confusion, even the chaos, even the moments of forgetting, they are not failures. They are part of the sacred spiral. You are never off your path. You are always being guided, not towards something new, but back to something eternal. And now you are here. You are in it. You are the flame. You are the breath. You are the presence that no longer needs to chase presence. You are already what you seek. And the journey is not over, but the struggle is. What continues from here is not seeking, but deepening. Not proving, but expressing. Not waiting, but being. You walk forward now, not with weight, but with wonder. Not with urgency, but with trust. Not with fear, but with sacred clarity. And when others ask you what changed, you'll have no doctrine, no formula, no 7-step plan. You'll simply look at them heart wide open and say, I remembered who I am. I remembered what I've always been. I remembered that I am already what I once believed I had to become. And that remembrance, that breath of soul deep truth has set me free. free to be, free to love, free to live fully, free at last to just be. And that is more than enough. It is everything. It is everything you ever were, everything you ever will be, everything you already are.